I feel like I look like a dad on vacation in this. Hello and welcome back to another episode 3 of The Garden of Ethan. I am glad to be here. I'm glad to be back, glad to be talking. Hope you're having a fantastic time, a fantastic week, that is. We're here to talk. We're here to talk some more. We'll be going into a couple of different things. I've been reading the comments. I've got a couple of different comment segmented talkabouts. That sounds like it makes absolutely no sense. Like, what am I saying? I was reading the comments and I asked for like different questions because I think that'd be great. I love talking about things people would like to hear about, what they're interested in. So a couple of the different bits, the couple of different journeys we will be going on today. Journeys is a bit strong. I ain't that interesting. I'm not that much of a narrator, as they would say. But a couple of them are from comments and I really enjoyed, I like reading what people would like to hear about and then getting to because I plan a little bit what I'm going to talk about, but I like thinking through what I want to say about the different things. It's really interesting. I love to be like, how will I go off that? What direction will I take it? It's really fun to do. But first, we'll have a fun catch. I feel like the first bit is the catch up, what we've been doing in the week. How's yours been going? Good, I hope. If not, I'm sorry. I hope this can provide a little bit of respite, energize you. Well, can I do that much? Well, either way, I hope this will provide you a little bit of happiness if you're having a rough week. But how's my week been going? It's been going fine. Weeks sometimes aren't that eventful, and that is okay, especially at this time of year where it's like end of November-y, kind of going towards Christmas, but we're not there yet, the holiday season. We're in that weird thing. But I do have a wedding coming up. I don't know if I talked about it in the last one, but coming up this weekend for me. So that'll be really fun to talk about next week. Hopefully it'll be lovely and crazy in a good way because, I've never been to one. So I feel like I could be overwhelmed. I will try and write down as much. Who knows? Maybe I'll leave myself some voice memos. Because what I've heard from weddings is you're meant to get drunk. That's that is the vibe I've gotten from anyone who's ever been to a wedding, is you eat pretty, I've heard mixed things about wedding food, but I've heard if they're putting a tab at the bar, you get very, very drunk. But I think that's probably the best way to do it. And I can't wait because I've never been to one. So I'm so excited. So look forward for that for next week. My shenanigans at a wedding. Who knows how it will go. I hope it will go crazy good. Not crazy bad. And I hope it's a lovely ceremony because obviously I want my friend to have the best wedding ever. I don't think anyone ever... Actually, that is definitely untrue. I was going to say, I don't think anyone goes to a wedding thinking, I hope they have a bad time. There is definitely people, but for me, I hope my friend has the absolute best day ever because how cool... Weddings! I don't know. It's one of those things where since I haven't been to one, I have no thoughts. I only see them in movies and they create realistic expectations about what it's going to be like. But I'll keep you updated next week. But this week, I film, I edit. That's my kind of jam. On a Tuesday, Wednesday, I feel like I film most of my videos of my content. So it's from 8 to 5 or 6, I just film as much as my phone's battery will allow me, because that is what that's why the quality is okay. I'll let you be the judge of that, but okay for video, but still a little bit blurry, so that's why I get most of my things done on those, and then the other days is just editing stuff. I catch up with friends. I'll go more into my weekly structure because that diverts back to a different topic later. But this week I caught up with an old friend, which was really nice. Do you ever have that thing where, especially I feel over COVID, it probably happened to a lot of people. I don't know, I can only speak for my own age bracket, but I feel a lot of people who were at uni and different stages in their early to mid 20s, it was strange because especially I was in my last year of uni during COVID, or at least the last bit of COVID. So I didn't get to go to most of my last year or see most of my friends. And a lot of those like relationships and friendships you have, well, I guess they're all friendships. I don't know what but all my like friendships kind of just like dwindled out. There was no like anything bad. You just don't see anyone for like a year and a bit. And like it's hard to keep in contact. You couldn't go anywhere in COVID, so those friendships fade. The friend I'm talking about, I was friends with in high school, so we have more of that like build connection. But it was just over different periods of time. You go in lulls, and it was one of those things where I was like, he wished me a happy birthday, which was a couple of weeks ago. And I was like, we should catch up, though. I was a nightmare to organize because I am a horrible replier, as I think I've said in a couple of other videos, and I just strung out, and then I was like, no, like, if you pick a date, I'll be there, because I'm really good at, if there is an expectation, I will show up. Like, if I have said yes to something, I'll show up, and I'll show up on time. I'll probably be early. Like, I'm very good at doing the thing that I have agreed to. It's making the plans that I am horrible at. I don't know. I assume many people can relate. Making plans suck. I go into it and I'm like, ugh, I fucking hate it. I hate it so much. But we went to this really cool, like, all-you-can-eat, which we talked about last week, and I said I don't go. But this is the update from that on my next all-you-can-eat adventure. We went to this one, but it was different. I didn't know the vibe. It was like a Korean barbecue type place, but also had like a lot of meat skewers. And I was like, how do I approach this one? Because we talked about all my strategies and thoughts going into it. But this one was different. I was like, oh God, I don't know how to approach it. So I'm like doing my thing. I'm like, I asked my friend, I was like, honestly, you're going to have to lead this one. And we're very similar. So luckily, he knew he's like, these are the stuff, this is the good stuff, we'll go for this. And I was like, okay, good. So we got skewers. It's like Wagyu, I'm putting air quotes up, Wagyu, like skewers. I don't know how Wagyu, you know, like there's different grades, there's a whole thing. But it was really lovely. It was tasty as, I was like eating it, I was like slopping that stuff in chili oil. Oh, it was delish. I couldn't like, those, like a lot of the skewers were fantastic, and it was really nice, like just getting to see like a friend that you haven't talked to in a while, and you get all that catch up and like talk to. But it was really funny because we were like very close, and then just life happens and stuff, and we're talking, and I was like, you know, like, how's life? And he was like, I've been waiting until how long it took till we got to that conversation. And I was like, I forgot, and I love how honest you are. Like, yeah, like we talk, everyone eventually when you catch up with those people, we do the, you know, how's life, and you do the monotonous stuff. And I was like, yeah, like do we should just jump straight back into where we like left off, back into like different friends, like what's been happening with people, like relationships. I was like, you know what, actually I like that. I don't, you know, you do the, you know, how's the family, how's the blah blah blah, and I was like, that's fun, and it is important to like cover, but like it's just fun to kind of skip that and like jump straight back into like the where we left off, like nothing ever happened. And I think it's a really fun thing, and it shows you like how strong your friendship was, and it can just be picked up straight away, which is always fun. But the thing about this place is you put your like I'm going back from beautiful friendship to food very quickly. You put your like skewers on the little thing, and it like turns and like cooks slowly. And you kind of sit there and you watch it cook, and that is where they get you, because it takes so long to like cook it yourself. Every time you have like one round, and there's only so many like places you can put your little skewers, they like slowly cook, and you like talk and chat, and that bit was like fantastic. We're not dissing that, but you like eat your like one round of like 6 or 7 skewers, and then you go up, you grab some more, put them on, then you're like waiting for them to go, and then you're like, I'm digesting. The thing is, I have this whole theory, and I don't know, maybe I know nothing about how the human body works, but I was just like, oh, well, if you eat at an all-you-can-eat and you just stuff your face as much as you can, all at once, then you don't like, you like eat it all and then you start getting full later, but you've eaten the most. If you eat a little bit and then you're like waiting for the other bit to like cook and then you like digest it, you're like, wow, I'm getting full a lot quicker. And that's where I think they get you at this place. And I was like, I know their strategies, but obviously I was just having a really good time. So I wasn't trying to strategize as much. I wasn't trying to be my crazy self. I was like, no, I'm actually just enjoying the conversation and seeing my friend. But God, did I eat a lot. I was like, no, I'm still gonna eat a lot. I'm still gonna try my best. Absolutely. And we got to like the last round or something and I was like, oh my God. It was one of those things where you're like, the thought of eating anymore just makes me feel absolutely awful. We didn't really waste any food, obviously, because I'm like conscious of that. I'm like, no, we won't waste like anything. But I was just sitting there. I was like, oh God. I was like, can we go for a walk? I was like, let's pay. I love talking, but I need to be walking. I need to be like actively like burning some of this, not burning it off, but just like letting things move. You know, when you go, you get, I eat with my eyes more than my body can eat, and then it doesn't catch up. Then it catches up all at once, and I'm like, oh no, I've done bad things. I'm sorry, stomach. I'm like apologizing to myself. Next morning was rough. That amount of chili oil and meat just screwed me over. And I have now found out that that is not a good thing for me. I can't do it. I can't do the richness of it. Even though I fucking love it. Couldn't do it in the slightest. But that was the only really, like, thing I have done this week. I catch up with some friends, but some things are, when you, like, I'm like, nothing crazy happens. We just like get together and watch TV and like have a good time and just talk. So it's one of those things where sometimes when we go out, I have the crazy fun things to talk about and things that I like want to see what other people think and do and how they think. And then other times I like catch up with people. I'm like, on paper, boring, but like actually in person, we're just having such a fun time that I have nothing to like report on it. But we're getting to some of the things that I saw in the comments that I can talk about, which is really fun. Again, if you see anything that you'd like me to talk about, elaborate on, talk more about, leave a comment down below, or anything random that's not anything to do with anything. If you want a topic talked about, let me know, because I love like going off that. I think it's really fun. But someone in the first, I think, it was possibly the first podcast episode. I was talking about Halloween, obviously, because that was close to when... Well, it was kind of close to when I released the first one. But they were saying that they wanted to hear more about different like holidays in Australia. And I love talking about... It's my weird patriotic spree. I just love talking about Australia. It's really weird. I love, like, when I first got like TikTok and like things on YouTube that I really like, I will always like click on a video where it's like American reacts to Australia, or like Australian differences, or back in the day. I don't know if anyone was around for like the golden era of YouTube, in my opinion, with all the big YouTubers and stuff. And they'll do like the like Brits versus Aussies, or like slang differences. I lived for those videos. I thought they were all so much fun. I love them. I love hearing like people, because it was always like the UK versus America, and then sometimes someone would do it with an Australian. I was like, yes. I loved hearing all their slang and been like, wow, like our slang's so different, or different things we call things. I thought it was so fun. That was like my favorite. I love to consume that content. So anytime I have to talk about Australia, it's a very fun time because I enjoy it actually so much. But holidays in Australia, I've got a couple of like different dot points. Firstly, it's mostly only relevant to how I experience holidays and like celebrations and periods in Australia, because Australia, very multicultural country, and lots of people celebrate lots of different things. So like, I know I will talk about Christmas. While I'm not actually religious, I grew up that way, and Christmas is, I think, a thing celebrated for a lot of people, whether they are religious or not. But obviously, there's a lot of people in Australia that probably don't celebrate Christmas, and that's cool. But I'm talking about how I perceive, like, my version of holidays in Australia. So, Christmas is coming up. But so I will celebrate Christmas. It's always a fun time. The interesting thing that I think is so different between obviously the earth has all the different things, but a lot of countries like and Christmas surrounding and things you think of is like the white Christmas, the snow. Christmas is like winter time. It's snowing. It's cold. Fireplaces and stuff. Australia, it is in summer and it is hot. So I feel like Christmas is very different to like how like when you see all the Christmas movies and stuff and different things, everyone's in their like snow gear and they're like, oh, all those like holidays, like first date, bring the person home movies. They're like tobogganing and stuff. I'm like, I would be at the beach or by the pool, just boiling hot, ready to die because Australian summers get very warm. I will tell you that right now. It gets hot down here. And I don't think Victoria even is the hottest of all the states. We have way hotter states. But Christmas is in summer, so it's a very like different vibe, where when you have your like Christmas meal with your family, there's like the traditional like ham and stuff, but like prawns are a big thing and like seafood and stuff because it's like that holiday barbecue stuff. Also, I think everyone knows this by now. I'm not spilling the tea. It's not an interesting thing, but the shrimp on the Barbie thing, no one says if that's a shock to anyone. Sorry to spoil the buzz, but yeah, we would put. Okay, Barbie definitely said. Shrimp we call them prawns. That's a thing. So Australians know that. I think most of the people on Earth know that by now. That it was, I think, a marketing something in America, and that's where that took off. But it's a lot of like summer like barbecues. Like I know a lot of like families because I have a smaller family, so we don't do it. Everyone's mostly older, so there's no like crazy games. I know like big families all do like cricket and stuff, or like Australian football with like their family, and all enjoy like going to the park, or like big like backyard sports and stuff, or like even like pools are getting like those inflatable pools or hoses. It's a big like I feel like it's really fun because it's in summer and everyone's like on holidays, so it's always a good time. But the thing about Christmas here that I don't like is how quickly, and I assume this isn't the same in a lot of countries, how quickly every shopping center and shop puts up all their Christmas decorations. Granted, it is coming to the end of November, so I can't be as mad now, but they've been up for like a month. I'm like, put those motherfucking things away. I'm like, it is not great. It is still November. Halloween barely got to shine in October, and now you're just jumping straight to Christmas. Granted, we don't have Thanksgiving. I assume maybe people know that. Yeah, no, it's an American thing. Thanksgiving is an American thing. So we just go straight to Christmas. All the shopping centers are like, yes, Christmas time is what it is, and that's what we're going to celebrate. And I'm like, oh, guys, it's just too early. And as someone who worked in a supermarket for a very long time, just the thought of like going to a shopping center and hearing all the Christmas music on repeat for hours and hours gives me like stress and PTSD. I'm like, no, don't stop playing it. I can't hear it. I am a bit of a sucker for Christmas music, so I think I can stand it more than a lot of people. But God, it like hits that November. They'll throw a couple in. They won't go too hard. Decorations are high. Christmas music's low, but then like it starts to creep up as the as the month goes by, and then we're just like full Christmas spirit, and it's everywhere. But it's kind of fun. I do like the decorations. I won't say that. But we're talking about Australian holidays, not just Christmas. So we have, I would say the standard like religious holidays that a lot of people celebrate anyway, which is, Easter. That's it. Christmas, Easter, like Halloween, I've talked about. It's not that celebrated, but it's still a thing that happens. And then you have like all like your other holidays from every other like countries, religions, different things that the people who live here that celebrate those things celebrate. And you do like hear about them and see different things like going on usually it's just like located to the city, or I know in different times, because I worked in a supermarket, you notice when different things are happening, because like they would sell different things, which was really cool and interesting to find out. Like, and I cannot give you the most specifics, but I'll try because I don't want to get things wrong. But like, they would sell a lot of, I think, like dates at a certain things. And I know possibly it was bought a lot for maybe Holi or Diwali, I think. I could be completely wrong, but I know there was a couple of different celebrations where like a lot of like certain like fruits would be bought, and it'd be interesting because that would help me like clock what time of year it was. I'd be like, oh cool, like that's a thing. And customers would like, I'd be like, oh, that's like fantastic. Like they'd tell you about what they're doing. I think that was like so much fun about working in a supermarket. It's just getting to like talk to so many different people, and it's so much fun talking about like different things that people are doing and when they're doing them. Just like at the start of the year when like the Lunar New Year's happening, getting to talk to people about that. It's always so much fun getting to that, but I'll be talking more about my past jobs later today. But other than that, for holidays, we have like your just general like school, like primary school, high school, like uni holidays that kind of break out the year and kind of most people follow because it's like all the kids in the country, and then like all the parents kind of follow that. So for primary school age in Australia, you have 4 different terms that run, I want to say like, for like, how many? I'm like trying to think about how months work. 3, 6, 9, 12. Well, they can't run maybe for a couple, like a bit over like 2.5 months each. That's definitely not right. But you'd have like 3 terms at the start that would have like a 2-week gap in between them, and then you'd get maybe your like Christmas break, which would probably be a month or 2 at the end of the year. And then that's how it works. And then you get to like high school, and then the Christmas break still there's only 2 weeks between every term, and then at the end of the year I think you maybe get like 2 months off, and that's kind of your Christmas break. And then in uni, everyone's timetable works differently, but most unis go off semesters. I know mine was a trimester thing, but you didn't have to do the 3rd trimester, so it was basically semesters anyway, and you'd have like 3 or 4 months off at the end of the year. And then most like things follow those kind of, they're like your holidays of how everyone's on holiday, because like I don't have any siblings or younger siblings, so I could not say when kids go on holidays anymore. The only way I know is when you go to the shops and there are just children everywhere. I always do the thing where I like look at my invisible watch on my phone, and I'll say whoever I'm with, I'm like, must be school holiday time, because you just know, because everything's so packed for like those 2 weeks. Everyone, I think, knows that it's just the time when you don't go out. If you don't like have kids, or you're like young and don't want to like go near all the children in the world going to the shopping center, everyone just unanimously is like, for those 2 weeks, we don't go out. We don't leave the house. We don't want to deal with how busy it is, because that's just generally, I think, how holidays work, like school holidays work. And then you just have like the normal like public holidays, and I don't know how other countries work, so I say everything being like, I don't know who has what in each country, but we have like different public holidays which usually result in long weekends. A lot of the times they'll be like on Mondays or Fridays, or sometimes you'd get like a Tuesday public holiday, and then most people would like take the Monday off, and that's like usually for like different things. The only one I could think of when I was like writing it down for like a long weekend was the Queen's birthday, which I don't know if it's the King's birthday public holiday anymore, because obviously she passed, but I actually have no idea because I pay no attention. But that's usually like a long weekend. And then we have like ones localized to each state, which can be different. Like we have the Melbourne Cup, which is like a big horse racing thing in Melbourne. So everyone in Victoria has like a day off as a public holiday when that is running. So that's just like, that's the very bare bones, like completely stripped down version of different holidays relating to like religious holidays, school holidays, and like public holidays. But anything that anyone wants to know about Australia that I could possibly answer, let me know. If you're curious about how anything works down here, I'd love to be the one to let anyone know. While my explanations may not be the best ever, I can give my perspective and try my best. If I have to, I'll do research. But yeah, I think the biggest one that is interesting compared to a lot of places and compared to that stereotype of Christmas is how it is summer here, and it's just so different because like, you know, it's just everyone's in shorts, bare feet or thongs, thongs like flip-flops, they're like shoes. I have to distinguish that or people will think it's a weird place. And like singlets and t-shirts, everyone's sweating because it's usually so hot. I do remember one year for Christmas there was like a thunderstorm and hail, and the hail was like the size of like, I don't know, apple. It was huge. Like it was a crazy thing, and it's all anyone talked about for ages because it was the most crazy Christmas ever. Everyone was like, did you remember, like people will still be like, do you remember that Christmas where all the hail was coming down? It was like because every other Christmas is generally sunny, very hot. Oh my god. In our family, I was like, do you remember the Christmas, the hail? And one of my uncles nearly like fell off a roof because they're on the roof, like making sure that the roof wasn't getting caved in by hail. So yeah, I feel like most people remember that Christmas. It was a fun time. But going back to the supermarket stuff and back to the different comments, one person asked, there was a couple of different things going on from that question, what I'm going to talk about. But the baseline was, what do you do for a living? I know you have talked about working in a supermarket. Do you have any like horror stories or like delight stories? Which I think was so fun to talk about. And I think I will follow up in a different podcast about some of horror stories because I need to think of more, because I feel like I have... I'll go back into the question, but I feel like I have 1,000 million horror stories that I have just repressed and not thought about in ages, and I want to like think about it and make sure because there's definitely good ones there. I have to unearth them. But what do I do for a living? Well, I used to work at a supermarket. I did up to last Christmas, so last December. I worked there for 5 years, I think, 5-ish years. And at like the start of working there too, I also worked as a cafe as a waiter, which was really fun. But that was like working at a supermarket was easier and I was getting more shifts. So the waiter, I only worked for like a year and a half, maybe a year to 2 years, I'll say, and then kind of dropped that and just kept working at the supermarket, which was super fun. Through COVID, the busiest fucking thing ever. Like it was, I would say it was fun, but it was it was a very stressful time because how, obviously I think a lot of countries had lockdowns. I think Australia possibly, and I don't want to get this wrong, but I can be wrong. That's kind of my brand at the moment, is saying things and being probably completely wrong. But Australia /or Melbourne had some of the longest lockdowns and like most severe in the world, possibly. I do remember reading those headlines, though I don't know if they were more clickbaity or not. I will let that up to anyone who wants to Google that to see if that's a fact or not. But, like, we had, like, curfews in place, like you weren't allowed out of certain radiuses to go places. At certain times you needed certain permission to, like, you could only go to certain places, which involved, like, I think it was like hospitals, supermarkets, and like immediate caring, or else like you weren't legally allowed to like leave the house, or if you went to work, that was a place that was deemed allowed to stay open. So that was a whole thing, and only at some points were they so strict for so long, but the general lockdowns were very long. So a lot of places that people could only go to were supermarkets, and as I was a worker at a supermarket, I was there all the time working, like very long hours. I feel like a lot of people had to, and I could do probably like a whole pod about it. It was a whole thing, but I think, and I feel like supermarket workers did not get treated or compensated enough for the work they did. Obviously, the hospitals and people that is way more important, and they did way more work, and they were probably treated way worse, and it was probably way worse, or definitely way worse for them. And I would thank anyone that worked anywhere in like a hospital or medical during COVID, because I couldn't even like begin to imagine that. But supermarkets were rough, like not as rough to near the extent to that, but it was a hard time, because I feel like a lot of people did go because it was their only place they could go, especially like I only speak from a Melbourne perspective, but when that was your only place allowed out, everyone was going there, and it was like you were doing like tenfolds the work of like what you generally did, because it was the only place people can go, and it was hell. Like, just the like amount of hours a lot of people were working, and the like pace you're working at, everything was packed, like, and like there would be nothing on the shelves, and like people were just in more horrible moods a lot of the time, and it was busier. It was a whole thing. But like, obviously you work through it, you do it. It's your job. That's what you gotta do. And I worked there until last December, and then I was kind of like, I kind of just want to not work there anymore. It was just, when you kind of feel your time is done somewhere. A lot of my like really good friends that I still see and talk to all the time, who worked with me, had like left, they had moved on, and I was like, I kind of don't want to be here anymore. When you're only there for like sometimes the people, and when the people leave, you're like, actually, I don't have any reason to be here anymore. So I left that, and I was like, I'm kind of taking a gap year. It was one of those things where I was like, do I want to jump straight back into something? Not really. Also, I hate the word for it. It is really hard to like verbally say. Content creating, I love doing this. Just saying those words is... Creating content is something I always wanted to do. It was always something I've loved. I loved consuming. Obviously, I mostly do reactions, and that's what I wanted to start with, like reacting to TV and movies. It was never something I wanted to do because I thought it would be really easy. It's actually because I used to consume so much of it, and I loved so much of it. I loved to see people like talk about it and just like capture people's like first reactions to the thing, and everyone would like be talking about them, and I subscribed to heaps of different people on like Patreon too, to watch like full length reactions. I was in it. Like, I loved it so much. It was something I really wanted to do, and I was like, I'm going to try. And as a very highly anxious person, and someone who like takes a long time to like build up the confidence to get into it, it took me a while to start and get better at it. Like, I leave all my videos up. If you go look at many of my earlier reactions, I have no confidence in talking to a camera, and I thought I was doing well, and obviously I look back at it and think, oh, look at him go, like he's trying so much. But it also gives me the most amount of cringe, because I'm like, oh, you think you're doing a really good job, and I'm excited that you put you on the journey to be where I am now, which is, I think, hopefully a bit better at talking to a camera. But oh god, I feel like I used to I like watched a couple the other day. I didn't like watch the full video. I was trying to like delete things to make space, because I keep different stuff. And I was like, hi, today I was like, bitch, smile. I was like, it is not going to hurt to throw, and I'd be so quiet. I was like, but content creating was something I really wanted to do. I really loved it. So it was something I was really passionate about and wanted to do. And I threw my foot in the door, and I've been enjoying it so much, and is something that I would love to continue doing. And I like evolving different content, like getting to do different things. Like, I reacted to shows and movies, and then I started doing like gaming and anime, because that is something that I very much love, and it's not everyone's cup of tea, but I enjoy doing it. So that's why I do it. I always wanted to do a podcast because I thought that was so much fun. I had a couple of people I had like joked about doing a podcast with, but I was like, I feel like it's something I want to do, and I want to start it. So I'm just going to do it by myself, because everyone, has other goals and aspirations in life. But I was like, that's something I'd love to do. So I did that. I got to evolve and start doing a book club, which was really fun. Like, the way that you wouldn't expect to do these things when starting, but like, I've just, people are obviously like, when they, subscribe, some people build you up really nicely and like give you the confidence to do things, which I think is such a beautiful thing about like creating content, like to have people put like faith in yourself, or be like, oh, like if you read the book, it would be really cool. And now like I feel like I really enjoy like reading more often, and being able to share like my fun little gay romance books with people, I think, and like to be suggested things. I don't know. It's just a really fun thing that I always wanted to do. So I'm currently on my gap year. I say that. I consider that I'm also still working because I do this. I film and edit constantly because it's just this thing where I try and upload every day, which I have been doing for like a year probably. A lot of the times, sometimes more than once a day, not all days of the week, but a good couple of days of the week I'll usually upload a couple of different things, and that keeps me busy because as much as I think I've gotten better at it, I'm still not the quickest editor. Editing can take forever, and I don't even do I watch some of different like reactors and stuff, and I'm like, oh, some of the things they do is great, but they put up like one video a week. So obviously I think their content is still fantastic, and I do not judge how many videos people put up a week. But I was like, if I put all the effort and time into that, some like fancy different, like they'll like have their face over and they'll like switch different things. And I was like, I just like being able to react to more stuff because I think it's so fun, like dipping your toes into so many different like areas. But so I do that most of the time. I realize until you hit a certain amount of things, that is not a feasible living forever. So I am slowly looking for a job, but this is also, it's that thing of like following your dream or following something you're so passionate about. And like everyone tells you as a kid to like find something you like and maybe are good at. I hope I'm slightly good at this. I think I am somewhat. I entertain myself, and maybe that's what matters. I entertain myself. But they always say find something you're passionate in, or just like follow your dreams. And my kind of thoughts on it at the moment is like, humans don't live a long time. I want to do something I really like and enjoy and get to put like a creative spin on and do something I want. So this is really something I like to do. So hopefully I will be able to continue with it. But we get back to the job stuff. And I was thinking of different horror. We talked about horror stories and delight stories, and horror stories I think I will think about and hopefully come back to at one point. Delight stories happened not the most either, but there were some different like funny, sweet things. I feel like, let's talk about old ladies in a supermarket. This will be our last tangent. Old ladies in a supermarket are just an interesting group of people. And maybe this is localized to Melbourne, Victoria, Australia. I don't know. But you get a range of different old ladies. And I say most because most old ladies are the most lovely people on earth. They are very fun to talk to at a supermarket. They're always like up for a chat. It's really great. Obviously, not everyone's up for a chat, and that is fine. If people want to like have silence, oh my god, fine by me. Some are like generally there's groups of every people that are just mean and rude, but old ladies were the most fun. Because they'd be like, they're always like somewhat cheeky, they're fun to talk to, they enjoy just like saying it, they don't give any fucks anymore, they just like say it as it is, and usually, best time ever. But this is a but in a good way. But sometimes their cheeky would be taken up to too high of a notch, and I'd be like, Miss old lady, you gotta calm down. So there was a couple of times, I'd say 2 to 3 times, it's not a lot, but it is more than you expect, where at the start of working at a supermarket, I worked on registers, so people would go through, and I'd be talking to a couple of different like an old lady coming through. This happened on multiple occasions, and they kind of just go the same way. You start with the hi, how are you, how you doing today, like what's going on, what do you buy, what's happening later. Obviously, I only go into the whole thing when they want to talk. If someone's like, yeah, I'm like, okay, we don't have to talk, that's fine. But old ladies always love a chat, and I like to be, I want to be a nice person. I want to like, have fun and talk to them, because also it makes your day go faster if you're having a good time. And I'd be talking to these old ladies, and we'd be joking around. I would always be like, I would be too honest about things, they'd be like, how you doing? I'm like, oh, this fucking job. I'm like, just joking about it. They usually, I feel like Australian humor is a bit, I mean, every country's humor is probably very different, but people got it. It's always that like, you start off, you answer everything kind of in a negative in a way. It's just how things work. But I got through these conversations with these old ladies, having a great time, and they always ended with these two to three times ended with, and I have to paraphrase because I didn't like write it down or remember it because I was shocked. Like we've been talking, and then I'd go, "Oh, you're like, you're really sweet, or you're really cute," you know, and that old lady. I'm like, oh, "Thank you, stop it." And then they have dead fucking said to me, "If only I was younger." Ma'am, I'm fucking I'm like, "I'm sorry? What do you mean?" I was like, "I think I know what you mean," but and I would instantly blush. I'd just be like, "Oh my fucking God." I was like, "Am I getting hit on? Am I getting hit on by an old lady?" Like, I'm flattered, ma'am. But also, if you were younger, I still don't think I would be your target demographic as a gay man. But I love what you're going. It's so fun. Like, they just don't give a shit. They don't give a fuck. And they're like, you know, we could. And I'm like, no, but also I respect it was a funny thing. It's like, because obviously I was like 20 or something, so I'd be like, "Oh, stop it!" I was like, but I'm like, "Think you really, me, little old me?" I don't know. It just take me back so much, and I think the first time I heard it, I was probably fucking way more gobsmacked. I was like, "Bitch, what the fuck?" And then the like second or third time, I was like, "Stop it!" I'm like, "Susie, you crazy cat, stop it! Don't even." I'd be like kind of flattered. I'd be like, "Okay, stop it! You're just boosting my ego now." I don't know. They were just a couple of the moments I was thinking they're kind of a delight story, but also kind of just like a really funny story that used to happen. Though I was like, while I was telling the story, I was like, when I did first start, I remember some people would ask. I started when I was like 18, so I like graduated high school kind of just in my first year of uni, 18, 19, I guess. And I used to get some people who'd come up and be like, "Oh, like, are you still in high school?" And I'd be like, "Nope, I am too old for that." And then I think in my like first year of being there, someone was like, "Oh, so do you have like kids?" And I was like, "I don't think I look that old." I'm like, no judgment. Anyone can have like at a certain point, anyone can have children. But I was like, do I look specifically older today? I was like, what's going on? You'd have a lot of those funny interactions where I think people would just like say some weird shit accidentally, or just like they weren't thinking, or maybe they genuinely thought that. I'd just be like, "Oh no, I'm a bit too young for that." There'd also be the couple of times. Wow, see, the memories come back, so I'll have to start thinking about horror stories, and then they'll all start flooding back. There's also been a couple of times where I think it's the funniest thing, because I'm good with it now. I've like gone through a lot of processing. Obviously, I have somewhat of a more feminine voice, and probably when I was, 4 or 5 years younger than this, maybe even more so. But there would be a couple, I think it happened 2 or 3. They always come in like 2s or 3s. The weird shit or like funny stuff only happens in 2s or 3s. But some people would come up and they'd start like putting their stuff on the belt to like go through, but they wouldn't look up. And I just do that like, "Hiya, how are ya?" Because I usually go on a higher pitch. You don't want to seem threatening. You want to seem fun, bubbly, enjoyable. So I'd be like, "Hi, how are you?" No, that is not. I was like, why was I doing a Mickey Mouse impression? Just, "Hi, how are you?" Like, come through. Like, come on, let's go. And I had a couple of people, I think they were probably all old ladies too. They like wouldn't look up and they go, "Oh, hi miss, how are you?" I'd be like, "Oh God." I'd be like, "Here we go." And they would look. The funny thing about it is, like, yeah, like I'm not a miss, so like it's jokes on me, but the horror on their face when they look up, especially if I'm like, semi unshaven like I am now, so I've got like more of the beard, and like when I had shorter hair, and I'm taller, and they like look at me and they're like, I'm so sorry. And they like go into this like complete embarrassment stage. I'm like, it's like so fine. I don't care. Like, I'm not gonna get that mad about that. It's just a funny mistake. It doesn't, and they would just be absolutely mortified. I'm like, it's fine. Like, next time look up. I'm like, I don't care. But it was just the funniest thing how, like, it starts off, like, as kind of a slight on... It's not even... I don't care that much. But to just see their face go pure shock and embarrassment, it'd just be... Oh, it'd be so... It was priceless. It was priceless to just watch them, like, freak out. I'd be like... They'd just apologize profusely. I'd be like, I promise you, it's okay. I'm not mad at you. I'm not gonna overcharge you for groceries or something. We are absolutely cool. But yeah, there's some of the fun stories. Like, as they keep coming back, I keep thinking of more things. So we could do more of that. If anyone like to hear more delight stories or more horror stories, I would be happy to go into them. But yeah, let me know any different things. Someone also said that they enjoyed, like, the different, like, dating app icks and dating app stuff that I was talking about last week. Haven't been on them as much, but maybe they'll be like an every couple of week things. I'll get back on them. I'll fight because the opinions pop up when I see them, so I have to, like, know them to know what I'm going on. So if they come up, I'll update you. But that's basically it for today. Anything interesting you want me to talk about more, or anything random you want me to talk, let me know down below. I hope you're having a fantastic day and a fantastic week for the week previously and the week to come until I get to talk to you again. But for now, I thank you for watching, and I hope to see you in the next one.